The Trump administration's week just went from bad to even worse because J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth in a public outing in Washington, D.C. just got badly booed at Union Station. I really don't know what they expected to happen. They've taken over D.C., they've sent all the different military officials all over different parts of town, and people are fed up, not only in D.C., but around the country with what the administration is doing. And so in turn, if they're going to go outside in DC, they're going to get booed. So I want to show you some of these clips and different angles of J.D. Vance getting booed. And we have a lot to talk about in this video, so I don't want to waste any time. But if you appreciate what I'm doing here, if you appreciate independent media and the news I bring you on a daily basis, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And without further ado, I want to dive in to this first clip of J.D. Vance getting booed. And this one's really funny. Take a look. Oh man, I love the guy in the background who just keeps saying, "Get out of here." I just love that guy. He just over and over again. You can I'm trying to find a good angle of him. You can see him there with Pete Hegseth next to him in the blue suit. They were both walking around in Union Station, and they were there to go to Shake Shack, the restaurant. Not even joking. That's why they were there. Here's another angle I want to show you where he was entering into Union Station to go to Shake Shack, and this one is a little bit more explicit. Somebody was telling J.D. Vance to go get intimate with a couch, alluding to the many jokes around what J.D. Vance does with furniture. So just take a look at this clip, and I will brace yourself. It's a little explicit. Have a look.
It's right there. Oh, look. It's Couch Fucker. You gonna fuck a couch, buddy?
Right here. Do not go past this.
Mr. Vice President. Go fuck a couch. Go fuck a couch, J.D. Vance. Go fuck a couch.
Yeah, that was the welcome that J.D. Vance got at Union Station in Washington, D.C. As he's walking in, people telling him, well, go. I don't have to repeat it. You heard the man in the video telling him to get intimate with furniture, as the many jokes surrounding J.D. Vance have existed for quite some time. And here's another video, the final one I want to show you before a broader conversation of what we saw today, where J.D. Vance was leaving the Shake Shack eventually, and he got booed there as well. So take a look, and this is from a journalist on the ground.
I heard you, buddy. This is the guy who thinks people don't deserve law and order in their own community.
Mr. Vice President, how did it go?
Guys, thank you.
And then he walks out, and the angle we just saw previously of him getting booed when walking out of the Shake Shack actually happened moments after this. But what a slimy guy J.D. Vance is. He says to a protester with him and Pete Hegseth just laughing along, this is the guy who doesn't believe in law and order. We believe in law and order. The entire Democratic Party's position is nobody's above the law. You're the guy who's serving for the current president of the United States, who's a convicted felon, 34 felony charges. If you really want to clean up crime in D.C., how about you get the guy sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Ave out of there? The felony count in the city would drop like that almost immediately, so he can crack all the jokes he wants with Pete Hegseth. Doesn't change the fact of the matter. But man, just booed brutally everywhere he went in Washington, D.C. And actually inside this Shake Shack, he decided to have a conversation with the media about crime in D.C., about things generally. And I want to play this clip for you among many others that we'll talk about. But just take a look at what J.D. Vance had to say right here. And you'll listen in the background that while he's speaking, he's still getting booed. People did not let up. Take a look.
Some violent, crazy people who are screaming at kids with a few crazy liberals who are screaming at the vice president. But I think that's a very worthwhile trade to make because we want our people to be able to enjoy our beautiful cities. And the last thing I'll say is to the American people, D.C. is already safer than it was 9 days ago, but we're going to make it safer still to come. This is your city. You should feel free to come and visit here, have a meal, see all these incredible monuments, and actually enjoy yourself. And that's what we're trying to make happen. And I think that if we set a standard in Washington, D.C., that political willpower can bring some common sense, law and order back to these communities, then maybe some other communities and other cities will follow suit. So it's kind of crazy. You hear these guys outside. They appear to hate the idea that Americans can enjoy their communities, and they do the fact that D.C. a week ago had a higher murder rate than Trinidad and Tobago, which the United States State Department has said you shouldn't visit because it's unsafe. We ought to be able to enjoy great American cities. That's what we're trying to do in the Trump administration.
Except nobody can enjoy this great American city now because we have all these different clips of people getting stopped in their cars for no reason by the military, like literal checkpoints that people have to drive through. Restaurant reservations in DC are down dramatically. Nobody's visiting anymore. Nobody wants to go to DC. We're seeing clips of people being harassed on the street for just doing nothing, for sitting there by these different military officials in Washington, D.C. So who exactly is it safer for? Because a lot of communities are being targeted. And again, I want to reiterate, because J.D. Vance loves to strawman the Democratic position and just completely misrepresent what we believe. We believe in safe communities. We believe in law and order. That's why we're the ones investing in education. That's why Joe Biden and other Democrats have actually invested in law enforcement, whereas J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, they've attacked law enforcement. They're the ones firing people at the FBI. They're the ones firing people at the DOJ. They're the ones who called those institutions corrupt in the first place and reduced public trust in the FBI and these different law enforcement institutions in the United States. So spare me the outrage from J.D. Vance that it's the Democrats who don't want this. We're taking action because, again, you got a felon sitting in the Oval Office right now. And it appears for this little public outing that Stephen Miller decided to rise from the coffin he sleeps in every night and join in on the fun. And he, too, had something to say about the protesters, insulting them as well. Take a look.
And the voices that you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots, they have no connections to the city, they have no families they're raising in this city, they have no one that they're sending to school in this city, they have no jobs in this city, they have no connections to this community at all. But they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here today. Because me, Pete, and the Vice President are all going to leave here, and inspired by them, we're going to add thousands more resources to this city to get the criminals and the gang members out of here. We're going to
Wow, how dictatorial. He hears people protesting a message that he doesn't necessarily agree with, so he says, yeah, now we're going to add more people, more troops to Washington, D.C. to crack down on the crime. In this instance, his belief is the crime is people protesting, using their First Amendment right. You know, Stephen Miller is one of the worst people out there, just genuinely a horrific human being who thinks he is above everybody else. He's a very small man internally, though. He's very self-conscious, so he has to take his anger out on other people. He just thinks he's all that. But really just a really gross thing from Stephen Miller, but I don't know what we'd expect different from him. He is a gross individual. But this was J.D. Vance's outing today. This was his public rendezvous out in D.C., getting booed, publicly humiliated, constantly, everywhere he goes. I don't know when the Trump administration will realize that people just don't like them. They get booed at soccer stadiums. They get booed at restaurants. They get booed at train stations. Everywhere they go, people are fed up. So I just had to show you these clips. I really appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.